to ask you about, you said movies, so the question is sort of a multiple choice. Do you mean the Holy Spirit gets involved in Christian movies only, or just allegorical movies? Does he get involved in Star Wars type movies?
Yes.
What kind of movies does the Holy Spirit involve himself in?
Well, he is called the drama king, which means he loves excitement. He loves intensity. He loves beautiful things. He loves things that move the emotions of people in a great direction. Never anything in the darkness. The only time he does anything if it's a movie just bashing darkness to pieces, where good always wins. Good wins over evil, which is really what Star Wars is about. And I did not know this, but Jen said yesterday was Star Wars Day. When they say, may the fourth be with you, it's crazy. But I myself love Star Wars and what it stood for. You know, in case anybody wondered, Stan made it to heaven, people. Of course, he's Marvel. He's not necessarily Star Wars. But I just had to throw that in there for free. Stan was the Marvel guy who even to his very end was designing and creating stuff. He always, like Star Wars, George Lucas, who started Star Wars, always wanted to show good over evil.
Awesome.
Never in the movies was he for evil. And in those movies, there's almost no bad words and almost no sexuality is in the Star Wars movies.
Right.
There's like sci-fi violence, like you see robots being blown up and stuff like that. But it is for the good. I'm telling you, the movies are exciting and fantastic. And I still appreciate watching some of them. That's a good, decent fantasy.
Awesome. And did you literally say just now that yesterday, the 4th of May, that the Holy Spirit himself said, may the 4th be with you? Is that right? Did I hear you right?
They actually do say that in heaven, but they actually say that on the earth, may the 4th be with you. And I want you to know that the force in those movies was God. They actually, they probably hid it. They probably have hidden it. But I, in the day, was here when the first one was released. I was in when it's called A New Hope of all things, where when you meet the main characters in Star Wars, and that would be Luke, you know, and Princess Leia and all them, and how hope was being brought by, guess what, a remnant of people to come against the evil in these fantasies. It's true. I'm sure Steve has seen it. And so God, I know that the new hope actually shows in heaven. And you can actually sign up to be characters in that movie. Heaven has movies, but they have to be decent. They have to be exciting. There can be no evil things. There's no witchcraft in heaven. And the thing about Star Wars is they never had witchcraft. Okay, they did a great movie showing villains that weren't witches. That's a good tip right there.
That's true.
Witches are real. There are no good ones. I might as well add that for you too. But I myself, actually, God's going to have me produce movies one day. I knew I would write them, but then the Father came to me and said, I want you to get a marker and write on the palm of your hand these words. And he said, I'm writing them on my hand at the same time. This is how he does things with me. And he said, write on your hand, Heaven's Producer. And he was talking about me. So that's how I get new assignments. And there's some of the best movies that haven't even been made yet that'll be on this earth. Some will be about Christ. Some will be about the spirit realm and the truth about the spirit realm. But some will be some of the best action adventure movies you've ever seen that will be decent but powerful, without profanity, without sexuality, without witchcraft. And they haven't even been made yet. But I already know people are saying God's dropping things into me like this. And people look at Hollywood, will stop looking at it the way it is now because God's about to do something with that.
You know, you don't know this about me. I don't think I told you this, but years ago, before I kind of got attacked in my health, but I was at an airport in Cincinnati, and I got a man who was kind of a simpleton. You could tell the chronological age was, or his mental age was probably like 5 or 6, but he was an adult. He was doing the trash. And he would come along and he would tell everybody who they look like. And he'd say, you look like a plumber, or you look like this. And he came up to me and he said, excuse me, sir, can I talk to you? And I said, yeah. And he says, you look like an independent film producer. And I was taken aback. And then so then he left for a while, and he did more things. An hour or two went by because it was a long wait. Airport. I was in the restroom in one of the stalls. I heard him come in and begin to tell people who they look like. He never, ever, ever repeated that same thing.
Yeah.
And then I went back out to my same place. He came around. He didn't. He acted like he had no idea he'd ever spoken to me ever. And he said, "Excuse me, sir, can I tell you who you look like?" And I said, "Sure." And he goes, "You look like an independent film producer." And I was stunned, and I knew it was the Lord.
Yeah.
So then go back in time, like 2 years ago, I'm at ACPE with the prophetic roundtable, and de Havilland is her name, first name, African American woman, and she's talking to me. I just had met her, and we were just talking, and she stopped in mid sentence. She goes, "You're going to produce Christian films," and all of a sudden, so she didn't say. I've had like 4 of those, so I know I've got the same heart that you do. That just because we are prophetic people doesn't mean God won't give us these other kinds of tasks, which is the same word for everyone watching. Just because you're this doesn't mean you won't also be that, right?
That's absolutely true, especially in these days we're in, why they're so important. Before we start getting accelerated again, people, and I encourage people, get a journal. I don't care if it's like a $1 notebook, a spiral notebook. If God has given you ideas for witty inventions or apparel, draw it. You may not know how to make it, but if God gave it to you, then you're responsible for it. Eventually, at one point, there will be places you can take that and have things made. But even movie scripts, okay, even books. But I know movie scripts is, if God could have had movies on the earth in Jesus' time, he would have used them. That's why he told parables. A parable is a movie without the screen. And so they're huge on movies, and he will be showing so many powerful things in movies. Right now in our own theater, there's probably one thing I'd even go and see because the rest of it's very dark. And but I can promise you that is going to be changing also. So write it down if he gave you something, especially if it has to do with the movies. And I am an avid moviegoer, but I always check out what's in it before I go see it.